everyone, and welcome to Ariana's Food Adventures. This adventure, we're diving into our third part of the meal prep series by making no-cook meal prep meals. We're going to start with our overnight oats, followed by some tuna fish, and finish with some chicken pesto wraps with some veggies and homemade tzatziki sauce. Let's get cooking, shall we? Alright, so remember our first video from where I talked about different mason jar size? So this is the other little guy I was showing you from earlier. So I like using these for overnight oats. It's perfect. So what I'm going to do for each of them, I'm going to add half a cup of oats, just regular rolled oats in each of them. Alright, last one. Alright, and then to each one, you're going to add about a tablespoon of chia seeds. And to each one, just add a nice sprinkle of salt. We're going to put the lid back on these bad boys, give it a little shake, and combines everything perfectly. Alright, so for my overnight oats, I'm making a blueberry almond flavored. So start with, I have all my dry ingredients right here, and then to a liquid measuring cup, I'm gonna add all my wet. Half a cup of almond milk, and this is sweetened vanilla flavored, that way it has a nice little sweetness to it. Then a quarter cup of Greek yogurt, quarter teaspoon of almond extract, about a tablespoon of honey. Alright, just take a whisk and whisk everything all together, and each of these mason jars gets this exact amount. Just add it right on in. Just give that a nice little stir just to make sure everything is thoroughly combined. And to our mason jars, I'm going to add about half a cup of fresh blueberries. You can certainly use frozen. Both work very well in this. All right, all the blueberries are in. And then when you wake up in the morning, all you have to do is just sprinkle some slithered almonds or even sliced almonds, whichever almonds you prefer, and your overnight oats is done. How easy was that? Alright, to get going with our tzatziki sauce, I got a cucumber right here. Just gonna cut the ends off in half because we don't need the whole cucumber. And we're just gonna give this nice little fine dice. So just cut it in half, and then from the slices, just give it a nice little chop. Alright, everything's been roughly chopped, so it's gonna dump in the bowl. We're gonna add one big garlic clove. Can't have tzatziki sauce without some garlic, right? Alright, garlic's been all chopped up. Just sprinkle that on in. Fresh dill. Half a lemon going in. And we're gonna flavor our tzatziki sauce with some good old salt and pepper. Quarter to about half a cup of Greek yogurt, and give that a nice little stir just to thoroughly combine everything. And look at that, folks, you have homemade tzatziki sauce. Super easy and super yummy. And the best part is the longer it sits, the better it is because the flavors really develop between the lemon juice, the garlic, the dill. Alright, so to get going with our pesto chicken wraps, I got some extreme wellness wraps here. Feel free to use whatever wraps you like. In a bowl here, I got one rotisserie chicken that I went ahead and shredded up, about a quarter cup of pesto. Alright, so I got some sun-dried tomatoes here up. I'm just going to give them a nice little rough chop. And I feel like pesto and sun-dried tomatoes pair so well together. Alright, to assemble our wraps, I got some spinach. I'm just going to lay here right in the center of it, just like that. Nice handful of our pesto rotisserie chicken, our sun-dried tomatoes, and then some mozzarella cheese right on top. Alright, gonna fold the ends off, and then we're just gonna wrap it up just like that, just like a little present. Then take a knife, cut it in half, and look at that, folks. Easy little chicken wrap. How easy was that? Alright, so once you got your tuna all drained, just dump it in a bowl just like that. Alright, our last can's going in. So I got about 4 cans here, and they're 5 ounces each. Alright, to our tuna fish, we're going to add 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt, some good amount of salt just to flavor the tuna fish, some black pepper, a little sprinkle of some garlic powder just for a little mild onion flavor and a little crunch. I'm just going to do some green onions. Alright, once your green onions have been sliced, just dump it on in. And for a little freshness and yumminess, some lemon juice. Alright, give that a nice little toss. I got a nice iceberg lettuce that I put into our meal prep container. Take 2 nice scoops of our tuna fish mixture right on in. And look at that, you have an easy little lunch, a little present. Now you're probably wondering, well, I need a little something with my lunch. No problem. You could do a nice apple. My favorites are the Fuji's. Nice, crisp, and delicious. And a nice sliced cucumbers, and you got an easy lunch for the week. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in for my third part of my meal prep series. Hopefully these no-cook meals will make your life easier. I know they definitely make mine easier, that's for sure. But stay tuned, because next week is my final video for this meal prep series where we will take one protein, make multiple meals out of it, And I'll show you how you could shred rotisserie chicken in under 5 minutes. How, you wonder? Well, unfortunately, I got to stay tuned for next week to see how it's done. I will see you then.